Kassar. Well, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Justice Plans Weddings podcast TV show. Now, where we bring you everything you need to know to make your wedding day truly unforgettable. I'm your host, as always, Nathan Kassar, and today we're diving into the world of wedding planning with one of the industry's best, Jess Page, the force behind Planned by Paige. Now, Jess is not just a wedding planner, she's a multitasking powerhouse. From wrangling toddlers to managing timelines, directing vendors, and even moving furniture, Jess truly does it all. With a vibrant team of coordinators by her side, she's made it her mission to take the stress out of your special day and make it as magical as it should be. But Jess's story doesn't end with wedding planning. She's the mastermind behind Love Affair, the epic outdoor wedding showcase held twice a year, and is deeply embedded in her local community through vendor nights and fostering kittens and puppies in her spare time. I reckon they should be done at the same time, though, because I think vendors would love that. In today's episode, we'll explore the difference between a wedding planner and an on-the-day coordinator. There is an incredible difference between that, and Jess will share her collaborative approach to wedding planning. She'll also bust the myth that planners are unaffordable, and she'll give you some insider tips on how to find the perfect planner for your day, no matter how small or large your celebration is. So if you're looking for expert advice on how to take your wedding to the next level with the help of an experienced planner, this episode is a must listen. Do not change it. Jess, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm
Happy
great,
Monday.
thank you. Yes, absolutely. I know Monday is I think this is a little best kept secret in the industry. Mondays, or at least in my opinion, in my world, is the best admin day for any wedding vendor, particularly those of us who are full time like you and I. Simply
Mhm.
because we know that a lot of couples are, off to work, and so their priorities are shifted away from necessarily focusing on wedding planning, at least into the end of the week, so we can get all that other great admin done, run sheets, and talking to other vendors and everything else in between. So yes, it's just another happy Monday. We don't hate Mondays, like the famous
No,
saying
definitely
song
not.
goes.
And I find Mondays are my answer the inquiries because they've all come in over the weekend. A lot of couples see us all working on the weekends and we're sharing stuff on socials and they're like, oh, I'm going to inquire where I see that. Then Mondays is my kids are at school and I get back to everybody.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
true. Absolutely, we do prioritize the Monday. Mondays are sacred amongst the wedding industry. Now, Paige, Jess, I know that you've been around for a while, and you've deserved the reputation you have. I was just talking to you offline that I was actually surprised that we haven't worked together before, but that's just the way that this industry works sometimes.
Mhm.
But what I've always come to know about you is that you're incredibly methodical. You're a big supporter of the industry, and you've also got a really a sort of an expert treasure trove of advice for our listeners. And the one first thing that I wanted to sort of address with you, and I know that this is a bugbear of yours as well, is the difference between the role of the wedding planner and then the role of what is called an on the day coordinator. So I wanted you as the ultimate expert. I wanted you to sort of help us to break it down, the difference, and explain when each role is needed, why someone would need to get either one of them, and just sort of once and for all set the record straight.
Okay. So there's almost three positions, if I'm honest, because a lot of the time there'll be a venue manager as well, who they
Mm.
are also separate to your on the day coordinator and your wedding planner. So, firstly, the wedding planner is the one that's sourcing all your vendors. They're the ones that's taking your vision of what you think your wedding should be and what it should look like and actually making that happen. Logistically, pulling it all together, booking all of your vendors. Um, and then the day coordinator is someone that takes over kind of that 6 to 8 weeks out. They're finalizing your run sheet. They're actually working out how this logistically is coming all together. Um, you don't have to book them together. A lot of people will either book a planner or a day coordinator, which is totally fine. And then the day coordinator is the one that's running the show on the day. They're that person that's in charge. They're the one that's making it all happen, getting you down the aisle, keeping your formalities to time, moving furniture, wrangling toddlers, all that fun stuff that we get to do. Stealing people's phones if they're not listening to the unplug ceremony.
Yeah.
We'll take that phone off them. They don't need that. Um, and then we're there for the couple. So making sure that everything the couple wants is what's happening. And then kind of that third position is that venue manager. They're looking after the venue and everything that the venue is promised or is contractually assigned to do. That's their job. So they might be, setting up or keeping bathrooms clean or things like that. I'm making sure the couple and everything they want on their day is running smoothly.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And it is a very important note because I see a lot of Facebook group questions regarding, well, what's the difference? I've already got a venue manager, so why would I need any of that stuff? But I think it's really important to emphasize what you just said about the fact that the other two roles, as we're talking about, the wedding planner, on the day coordinator, have a more of a holistic idea of your day that sort of come from all the planning to begin with, whereas the venue manager is obviously very much specifically responsible for more of a venue specific job, such as the food service and the staff that are there on the day and security and other things that, of course, like we don't want to be getting bogged down on because, we've got, so as you said, toddlers and phones to take away. And of course, obviously the supreme role being the planner, which is, actually making it all come together by having helped you through the planning process to begin with. So no, I appreciate that. And I hope that that does dispel the myths once and for all. Look, you've described, Jess, your wedding planning approach is very collaborative. And I like that because I think that particularly someone like myself who, there's nothing worse as an MC when we often actually play a bit of that role of the on the day coordinator as well to some degree. If there's not a collaborative approach between a planner and an MC, it can be really challenging on the day. So can you tell us more about how you work with your couples and your vendors to bring their visions to life?
So when I talk to my couples, I think there's this misconception that like, oh, here's my credit card and you just plan me a wedding. Maybe some
Heard that
planners do it like
before.
that in the
That's
movies.
very American, I should say, actually. I just wanted to interrupt. I know that that's a big thing in the States where you basically just give people your plan as a big bucket of money and say,
Yeah,
here it is, plan it. I don't want to talk unless I have to make some decisions. That's right.
yeah.
Not so much here, correct?
Look, I don't think so. And it's definitely not the way that I work. So
Sure.
I will like obviously talk in depth with my couple about exactly what they want and what they're envisioning, their budget and how we're going to prioritize their investments within their budget. And then I will be like, okay, let's talk about a photographer, for example. This is the budget, this is the kind of style of photo that you want. I'm big on supporting local, so I will always suggest a local photographer that fits their budget, and all their wish lists.
Mm,
Here's option A, ticks all your boxes, usually at the top end of your budget. They're available, whatever it may be. Option B is 80% of what we want. We'll still get you what you want, and then option C is obviously like, here's our more conservative option. And
mm.
then they can go away as a couple and talk about it and they choose. So I know how overwhelming Google is, and when you're searching things and there's websites and there's directories and it's very, oh my God, who do I pick? Okay, I'm going to come on, you're going to hire me essentially to be your Google and just present you 2 or 3 options. This is what I want you to choose between. And then couples go, oh, that was easy. I'm like, yes, but we're doing it collaboratively. You're still getting what you want and you're still making that decision. I'm just narrowing down all of your options to make it easy and stress-free. And that's what I kind of say to my couples is this is why it's collaborative. You guys are still
Mm.
making the final decision. I'm just giving you a limited option to choose from.
Yeah, no, I like that. That's definitely, I think, going to relieve a lot of people who are listening to right now, thinking exactly as you described the internet minefield that is searching online and then discovering that there is things like Easy Weddings and Avia directories and there's personal pages and I think also too in their mind the right fit versus the not the right fit. So sort of having you as that ultimate consultant and mentor along the process to help them decide that, I think is really, really critical. I've got a question for you is how do you, and you mentioned, of course, you touched on the fact that you prefer to seek local and to support that, which is fantastic. But specifically talking about the metrics, apart, there's one thing to tick boxes, right? There's
Yeah.
another thing to say, okay, there are in your mind, in your notes, there are 3 local artists who maybe tick boxes. How do you specifically choose and match up those couples? So you're providing them very, the best options possible, not just this smorgasbord of stuff. Oh yeah, all these people tick the boxes.
I think a lot of it comes down to availability first and foremost.
Fair
I'm
enough.
obviously going to present an option that is available. The next thing is, okay, we're talking about musicians. They really want the same musician that's going to play acoustic and then turn into the DJ.
Mm,
One musician throughout the whole day. This is the vibe they're going for. They want, maybe they want a string quartet, for example, throughout their ceremony and their canapes that turns into a
mm,
DJ. That particular vendor might be a bit more niche than a guitarist, turn DJ.
mhm.
And then I'm also like, what exactly music do you want to play? Are we super upbeat? What kind of DJ do you want? Do you want, what kind of music? And then I'm trying to team exactly what they're envisioning with the right person. So
Yeah,
obviously, if no one local is fitting that market, then we expand out.
sure.
But coming back to say Love Affair, it's a very supporting local and supporting people in your region where you want to get married. So if
Yeah.
you're flying down from Brisbane and we want to get married down here on the south coast of New South Wales, let's pick vendors that live here on the coast. Personally, I don't want to be paying people to come down from where you live. I almost feel like, why would you not get married up there where all your vendors are that you want there, if that makes sense.
I guess
Um,
it also
yeah,
depends on where people are going to be, right? I mean,
yeah,
I was mentioning to you offline that just very recently I performed my very first interstate wedding in Adelaide, and so I had myself and I think the planner was from Melbourne as well. Sorry, not the planner, the celebrant, I should say. Sorry. So it was a very different affair, but I think it definitely sort of speaks to the idea of, as you touched upon numerous times, is that you got to meet the couple where they're at and what they're
yeah.
comfortable with, and I think it's overall the best takeaway is if you get a planner, you're going to get somebody who is going to meet you where you're at. So I love that so much.
And I
Now,
think
there is a, sorry, yes?
also, I just want only because I push local in the sense that these are the vendors that I work with. So
Yeah,
if
of
a
course.
couple says to me, I want a really candid photographer that's not going to be in my face, not going to do this, not going to do that on the day, then I can instantly go, I know these people already tick that requirement because I work with them so often. If I
Yeah.
am bringing someone down from, interstate or something, that's amazing because it ticks all their boxes, but I haven't worked with them personally, so I'm not going to vouch for them straight up. I'm going to say, look, this is the best option for what you want, but I
Hmm.
don't know what they're like on the day. So it is for me that collaborative approach again of I'm suggesting these vendors because I've worked with them and I know they're going to fit your vibe.
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. And I think any couple would want that straight out of the gate. I think there would
yeah,
be that it all sort of derails your relationship with your couple the moment that they say, okay, so you've given us 20 people across 8 categories. Have you worked with any of them? Or
yeah,
like two? Like it doesn't exactly, inspire much confidence. So I think people can appreciate that planners have got that best interest in heart in the sense that, look, perhaps if I haven't worked with them, it's because they really tick your boxes, but also like I'm adjacent to a couple of people who can also really vouch for them if that's something that you're willing to put into the mix as well. So
yeah.
yeah, no, that's perfect, and I think people can really appreciate that. I've got a question because on the concept of budget, because obviously
Mhm.
it's a big thing, and I know from the conversations I've had with a number of my planner friends in the industry that there is this sort of reshuffling perhaps of people's concept of, well, if I can save some money, planners are apparently only for people who want to know Carl Sanderlands' wedding, and like there was some other person was recently announced as a celebrity that's getting married soon, and then so it's, I think it's Paulini, I think, is getting married very shortly. So it's like wedding planners must just be for those people, but that's not true, right?
No, I mean, by all means, there are very luxury planners out there that will chew up a huge chunk of your budget. But then you have other people, like myself or Emily that we spoke about earlier.
Mm,
Um, I would rather be affordable and be able to give more couples a planner or the help that they need. So,
mm,
like, I have packages that start from $1,500, which
mm.
in the grand scheme of a wedding budget is not a huge
No, it's very
investment.
reasonable. Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and that might just start them off and get the ball rolling for them to then take over. Or maybe they're
Yeah,
halfway through and they're like, we need help. We can, we need someone to step in now. I've booked some big stuff, but I'm stuck. That's
yeah.
where little packages like that come in handy.
Mm,
So everyone's budget's different, and I'm always happy to work within constraints of what they've got. And then sometimes planners have specials, if a certain photographer gives 10% off because it's my couple, or
mm, mm.
they get a discount midweek because they're my couple or anything like that. just extra bonuses, I guess, that vendor
So that's
friends work
in that
together.
concept of being able to save money. It's those relationships that you've also set up over the course of time that many other planners would also have too. That
Yeah,
potentially by leveraging that, that's that relative cost that people are thinking is an additional cost just to have someone to lock people in and search on Google is
right.
actually more or less actually unlocking different exclusive discounts and partnerships that would not normally be there.
Yeah, sometimes we can save you money by paying for us.
No, I love that. No, and so they
Yeah.
should. I think it's a great high point to highlight because I know that yeah, at the end of the day, everyone's even with the interest rates at the time of recording, just going down at this time and it being passed on. I mean, there's still a lot more work to be done for the stability of the Australian economy. So
Mhm.
definitely, and wedding costs continue to go up. The average cost went up another couple of grand from I think it was like 32 to 36,000 or something. So at the end of the day, it's nice to know that there are that planners are going to have that vested incentive to yes do a service but also want to pass on as many savings as possible.
Yeah.
Now when it comes to picking the right planner, because okay, we've talked about how you pick the right vendors once
Mhm.
they are you are their planner, but
Yeah.
then let's take one step back for a second. What should people be looking for in picking there? I say yep, I want to pick a planner. Who do I pick? Because I'm still overwhelmed. So, like, how do they pick the right one for them?
Obviously me. But I think you have to find a planner that's works with you. So, for example, I'm on Instagram all the time. A lot of
Mm,
my couples will set up a group chat with me, and we can easily send each other profiles or something that we've seen. My couple's like, "Oh, Jess, I love this. I tagged you in it." Because for us, that's an easy way to communicate. If you
mhm.
want someone that's going to meet you in person, once a week and talk through your wedding and is be that detailed about stuff, then I'm probably not that person.
Fair
Um,
call.
just all honesty. And I will say this to couples that do a consult with me. I'd be like, if that's what you're looking for in a person or in a
Mm,
planner, then I'm not that right fit for you. I'm more
mm,
of your um I'm open and I'm honest and I want to be your friend and we do this, collaboratively throughout the whole thing. I don't want to be this
mm.
bossy person that this is what you need to book and this is how much it costs. Hey guys, I've had a chat with this florist. This is all the stuff that we've come up with. Let's go through your invoice together. Maybe it's
Yeah,
at 9 o'clock at night and I'm okay with that. People work, I get it. By 9 o'clock at night, my babies are in bed. I'm happy to sit there and have a conversation with you.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's finding what's going to work for them with us together. Does that
Mm.
make sense?
No, absolutely. No, of course it
Yeah.
does. And I think, look, I'm beginning to get a sense this season's going to be very much about, and 2025 in general is going to be very much the word of the year is going to be vibe. And I think I've been hearing it quite a lot. It was a bit of a hang off from last year, but I think it's becoming incredibly important as obviously people's budgets are getting smaller and they're wanting to make the budget go further and making those right choices about something that they can't tangibly conceive until the day comes out. And so having a vibe across the entire experience, as you described, they're happy for if it were to be you, for instance, that they're not needing that sort of handhold once a week kind of approach. It's more or less just I've got you, I'll be with you, I'll get everything done exactly as I promised. It'll be fun. Then that's what they're going for. So I love that. I think, and I appreciate your candidness. At the end of the day, that's why it's always good to know what you're going for any vendor, particularly if you're going to go for a planner. So then, there's those tricky things down the line where they say, you promised this and we're not getting
Yeah.
it. So,
And I don't want my couples to expect something that I'm not going to give them either.
mm,
I would
mm,
rather, yeah, okay, here's our discovery call. You sent me an inquiry, we're having a chat. This is how I work. And it is, I think I'm quite laid back and I'm quite open. And I go, cool, we've had a chat about your florist. Give me a week and I'll get back to you because that's
yeah,
how it works. I've had time to go talk to the right people, come back to you, bring you all the stuff. I don't want to be like, oh, I'll send you quotes tomorrow because I know it's unrealistic and I don't want
yeah.
you to have the wrong expectations. So,
No, of
yeah,
course.
if
Absolutely.
that's what
Yeah.
they want, you got to find that planner that's going to be like that.
Yeah, 100%. No, and
Yeah,
it's great. It's great that basically what you're really saying at the end of the day is that self-aware vendors like yourself are just we're able by promising what we can and being open and honest with what we can't means that couples around everywhere can make informed choices, and I think that's the
yeah.
best thing. So
And I think
look,
too, like, and I'm quite open with, I do have 3 young kids.
of
Sometimes they're sick, sometimes I have to reschedule, and you just kinda have to be
course.
okay with that because, our lives outside of work mean something to us too. So
Yeah,
yeah, my
we're
cultures are
human
like,
beings.
yeah, yeah, I'm a mom. I got a family. I got birthday parties and things to do. So, um, yeah, I like that people respect that I'm a person outside of the role that I play for their wedding too.
Yeah, and it's about setting those boundaries to begin with. So no, I think that's a if any vendors are listening, I think it's a great piece of advice. Just be real and just be honest. And there is a couple out there for everyone. So there's tons of weddings happening, and we're all going to be able to do our bit to do the thing that we love most. I've got
Mhm.
one more question for you before I we wrap up, and I give you a couple of rapid fire questions before we close out. And it's to do with this concept of small elopements. And the reason why I bring it up is because as it's sort of tailing on to what I mentioned just before about how couples are beginning to shrink those budgets. Many couples now, on a more growing trend, are going, you know what? I don't want the big affair. I don't want the vendor list that's as long as a roll of toilet paper. Like, I want to have a small, intimate reception and ceremony that is really just unique to us and really small. So then the logic on their part is, well, a planner wouldn't be necessary for that because that just seems like overkill. Can you share your thoughts though, and actually perhaps there could be the opportunity for benefit to have a planner or an on-the-day coordinator, even for something as small as a small elopement?
100%. So my personal favorite weddings are 20 people. We rented a house, bring in a private chef, maybe a musician. We just get married, and it's super simple and intimate. And like, yeah, that's just my dream if I ever got married again. That's what I want. I want it small and personalized and intimate. And it's my personal favorite kind of wedding. So if someone comes to me saying this is what we want, my package is a planner and the on the day coordinator as one. So
Mm,
you will get me to do the whole thing. So I've actually got a few properties that I work with exclusively for those events. And
yeah.
I want couples to know, oh, cool, I can do what I want within this venue, under these amount of people. Um, and then I'm there to run it on the day. Because again, no matter if you've got 200 guests or 10 guests, you still need someone running around, running errands, helping guests, setting
Oh,
up,
certainly
whatever it
better
may be.
somebody else than the two of you, right? So
Oh, 100%. Yeah, like it's still your wedding day. Even if it's the two of you, I'm still going to bring your bouquet of flowers, and I'm still going to set up, your ceremony spot or whatever it may be.
yeah.
I'm still going to hold your veil or fluffy dress, or whether it's two of you or 200 of you, the service doesn't change.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And I think that's before we wrap up there. I think there is a really interesting thing you just said at the end there, which is about that the servants doesn't change. And I think that's a really critical. I find that I do get a couple of, or more than a couple requests of like, oh, we would really only need announcements, say, just speaking from MC World, like from say 5 o'clock to 7:35, and then after that, like, we see no value in what you could possibly bring to the day. And I go,
Mhm.
well, actually, there's actually quite a lot that I do
Yeah.
outside of those hours as well. And I only actually have one package that's how I roll. I only have one, which
Mhm.
from beginning to end, because I have my own philosophy on being able to maintain the entire time for them and to curate the experience. But there is a misconception that, oh, if it's smaller, then therefore like our effort and the money we're being paid is somehow going to dictate the level of service and quality that we provide. And I think just I would love to smash that myth along to emphasize what you just said there, that we are not downsizing the way that we approach these and our enthusiasm just because it is a quote unquote small wedding.
Yeah, and sometimes the small weddings are more hard work than the bigger weddings can be. Like,
It's true.
it's not, yeah, you still get me 100% no matter what kind of wedding we're having.
Yeah, no, I love that. That's fantastic, and I know certainly from the reputation I know of you there is certainly no compromise of quality for any size wedding that you do, or any couple or any place you do it. So it's great that you're a vanguard of that sort of real strong principle, going forward. Look, we ran out of time, but I do want to know a couple of things first,
Mhm.
because we ask a couple of questions at the end of the episodes that you are not privy to beforehand, but I'd love to get your immediate first mind response, whatever comes immediately into your brain. And seeing as
Mhm.
you're a planner, I think you're going to be perfect to answer this question. What do you believe are the top one, two, or three, depending on whatever comes to mind, top industry trends you're going to see this year?
Um, Hopefully smaller weddings, just
Okay.
because I'm here. Um, I think more entertainment, not just
Mm,
music, but other things, whether it's a magician or a live artist or something like that. And hopefully we're going to go back to more personalized decorations, or more meaningful to the couple, not so Instagram worthy stuff.
I think you are absolutely on the money.
Yeah.
I've begun to see that kind of trend towards the end of 2024, and I think it's really ramping up. I mean, even for what I'm Italian Maltese, so so European-based weddings, as you know, often are seen as meant to be you're expected to have larger guest counts, but yet at the same time, I'm often doing now like couples are insisting on 120, which is like, the grandparents are having like absolute fits about how small that is. Australian couples listening right now are like, oh my God, 120. But that is considered small. But you're right. I'm seeing those other two things as well. Even like, for instance, that, I do 75% of my weddings. I have games and activities that I personally host alongside, as you say, the live artists, the caricature artists and the magicians and all that. I think you're absolutely on the money. And I've got to ask, what is the funniest moment that you've had in your role to date?
I had a groom recently have a nervous nosebleed. So he's standing at the end of the aisle, ready for us to walk down, and there was blood. So yeah, I found it funny because I was like, he's just been stressing all day about, is his suit ready, and is his white suit ready, and he's ready, and he's ready, and then next minute we're like, oh no. Obviously, we didn't laugh at the time. We laughed.
No. One of those laugh at it afterwards kind of stories.
Yeah. But again, that's what you need on the day coordinator for, to save the day in that moment. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. Just to rush up and be like, hang on a second, hold the video. Got to wipe it up.
I got my bag of tissues and ready.
Oh goodness! Well, I'm glad that it all worked well though. You said I do, and all signed up and
happily married. Okay. Yep, no blood on your shirt. We're good.
Good. Oh well, it's a perfect outcome then. Well, Jess, we've run out of time. I could, of course, talk with you. There's so many things to unpack, particularly that you've got another fantastic Love Affair showcase coming up. So I'd love for you to tell the lovely folk not only how they find you personally, so they inspired to engage your services from small to big wedding and everything else in between, but also please do let our lovely listeners know about the Love Affair showcase coming up as well.
So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Plan by Page, or www.planbypage.com.au. Flick me an email or a message. I love to chat weddings 24/7. And it's loveaffair.com.au. So our next one is coming up at the end of June in Berry, down on the south coast. Outdoor, epic, live music, runways, food trucks, caravans, cocktails, the whole thing. Don't miss it.
It's a gorgeous part of the world too. I mean, the what I recommend if people do end up coming down, that they come to the showcase and see if you can just sneak in a sneaky at the donut truck in the main city, because I know I went there last time and waited literally 45 minutes just so I could get these donuts, and it was very much worth it. So
they do Nutella now.
Yeah, I know. I know the menu is just getting better and better. More reasons to go down to Berry. Well, Jess, thank you so much for your time. I know that you're incredibly busy, and so I will leave you to those inquiries and all the 24-hour chats of weddings with your couples. But thank you so much for your insights, and I genuinely look forward to crossing paths with you soon.
Thanks, Nathan. We'll talk soon.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Just As Planned Wedding Podcast. Please like and subscribe to let me know that you want more videos just like this one. And of course, please follow us on our socials at Just As Planned Wedding on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for more expert insights to help your wedding go just as planned.